Ouch. Hey, Luna, can you hear me? You might have to add me in.
And good day, everybody, and welcome back. Ooh, how you going? I'm Luna, and we have Jules here somewhere. Everyone dropped out. Welcome to the show. Today's subject, what we got? We got flowers, fruit, and elixirs of the gods. Oh, something's happened, and my guests have dropped out, but I'll keep talking, and we'll be right. So, got an exciting show tonight. We've got heaps to get through, so it will be a bit longer than normal, I hope. And okay, I'll just get my guests back in. Hey, Jules.
Hey.
And is that Naysay? We have Naysay with us too. So, welcome, Jules. How you going?
I'm good. What? I have no idea what happened.
Neither do I. We're having a bit of trouble here today. As usual. When don't we have trouble? Hey, when don't we have trouble? Every show there's
Hey, Polly. Hey, Connie. Oh, I can't chat, but I see you guys. I love you guys.
Hi, Polly. I can chat, but I'm trying to do tech. So, fruit, flowers, fruits, and elixirs of the gods, Jules. We got some good stuff. I'm just kind of waiting for Naysay.
I sing, therefore I not here.
How you going, Naysay? Welcome. How are you?
I am as fantastic as the universe will allow. Thank you for asking. And how are you two lovely ladies this evening? Can I say ladies? Sorry. Entities? Yeah. No, better yet. How are you two citizens?
Citizen Luna here. I was going to say citizen.
Did you catch that? Did you catch that? How are you two citizens?
Yeah, I did. Your reservation tone. Go on, tell us some more. Tell us some more, Naysay. All right, you know what we got today, Naysay? We got flowers, fruits, and nectars of the gods. So we're going to get into that. And we're going to start with nectar and elixir. I'm going to pop it up. Nectars and elixirs. Oh, trust me to start with the hard stuff first. All right, elixirs.
Well, I know a thing or two about elixirs. I mean, I can share some knowledge with you.
Okay, so we got the B there because we know that honey is an elixir. And all right, so the first thing we got there is ambrosia. I don't know if anyone's heard of ambrosia, or probably have. Everyone's heard of ambrosia. That's ambrosia nectar. Doesn't it look yummy? It's like honey. It looks like honey, but it isn't. It's made out of a flower. Now, this is where I want to talk to you fellas about this. So ambrosia when I was doing my research, comes in two forms. So the first form is like a weed with bright yellow flowers, and it's all fluffy, and that's ambrosia. Now, when I first saw that, I thought, yep, look how yellow it is. And when you looked at the elixir, it's bright yellow as well. So that made sense to me. And then as I started researching, I found out that this is also ambrosia, but that's pink, and I can't see a bright yellow elixir coming out of that. So before everyone rushes out and makes ambrosia, check out what it really is. I'm trying to get some information here. Ambrosia is I'm just going to read some information. Ambrosia is very closely related to the gods' other forms. The term may not have originally been distinguished. It's nectar usually drank, and ambrosia is the food of the gods. So that sounds like they ate the flower, right? Which we're going to have edible flowers as well. But yeah, I wasn't sure on that. What do you think? Is it the flower, or is it this bright yellow bushy thing? Polly thought ambrosia was made from mushrooms, yellow mushrooms. Yeah.
I mean, the thought that brought the conversation we had the other night, just chatting like we usually do, is I remember an episode of Xena, we were talking about the show we did last week with the others and the strange flowers. And I thought about flowers more and more, and then I remember ambrosia and the flower ambrosia, seeing that. And then I also remember seeing an episode of Xena where they actually are going to find the ambrosia, which made me think, okay, is there a connection between ambrosia for immortality and longevity? And there are a lot of myths, unbeknownst until a few hours ago, that they're in lore, they're in myth, and it all ties back to Luna's flowers. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I was just reading a bit back in the gods days, and notice I put little gods. I put a little G, not a big G.
So here's a thought. I think maybe they did both. I think maybe it was ambrosia drink, ambrosia food. I mean, could our ancients have possibly made like candies or gums with that and ate it?
I know from my little bit of research I did, from what I figured, the gods, when they had ambrosia, it sent them a bit crazy, and some of them did crazy things. And the goddess that gave it out, she, I think it was Athena, there was somebody doing horrible things. I won't say what they were horrible things. When she saw them doing that, she said they're not allowed to have ambrosia. So I figure that you have to have a clear mind and pure heart to have ambrosia, otherwise it'll act, the way you don't want it. They committed crimes and stuff. And it says that those who consume ambrosia typically have not blood in their veins. So it might, I don't know, maybe it does something to the blood. There's not a lot on it.
True, but then that also made me think of the mana.
Mana. Yeah, we're on that. Where is it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Have you heard anything about ambrosia, Nathan?
I don't know. What's the manna with you?
What's the matter with you?
Well, if we think of elixirs, and I would humbly suggest that maybe we just do a little word search and read a definition that comes about it. But when I think of ambrosia, I think of elixirs and nectars of the gods, and it makes me ponder of, in our history, not his story, that the lack for a better term label, human beings, as they were progressing, they were saying, "Oh, look at that pretty flower. I wonder what that petal tastes like." And as they realize what plants to utilize, because as we learn in the Bible, they talk about Adam and Eve eating the fruit of the tree. And if you think of flowers and weeds, their seeds, their methods of reproduction are similar to that of like apples with pollen. And so collecting that pollen, collecting those leaves, those roots, those stems, and then putting them in a process like fermentation. And so that is a way of extracting the oils, the nectars, the ambrosia, the elixirs from these plants in order to use them for their beneficial needs of lovely health maintenance.
Yeah, it says there too, they put it on their skin, in their hair, they drank it, they used it all over. In my mob, we had we still have it. I call it old man's weed, but it's a long viney thing, and we put it in a barrel and leave it there for, I don't know, it's a week or something, maybe a bit longer. Mix it all up, and then it gets handed out to all the elders because it's supposed to be an overall tonic that's supposed to help everything, like an elixir. So we kind of have that. Oh, maybe I should be drinking it. I'm supposed to be drinking it. Maybe that's what's wrong. And from what I gathered, my research, you can eat the flower or drink the nectar.
I'm sorry, I'm burning too much PPP.
That's all right. The PPP are out the front. Can you hear them? For them coming to get
I was going to claim that was me they were coming to arrest, not
They're
you.
coming to get you, man. We're talking about stuff we shouldn't be, no. Okay, so that's the ambrosia, which has an elixir kind of thing once you make the yellow juice. And what do we got next? We have the elixir of life. Now, I couldn't get a picture of the elixir of life, obviously, but I did find stuff on it. So this is a picture. It says the mythological white hair from Chinese mythology making the elixir of life on the moon. I found that and I thought that was really interesting. And the fact that way back there, they were talking about things on the moon, and they made the elixir there. Okay, they did find. Sorry.
No, are you going past the moon thing, or I wanted to add?
On the moon thing for a minute.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
No, you're right. I thought you were going to add to it.
I did. I wanted to. Sorry. So I was as soon as you mentioned about the moon and the elixirs. So if we agree that everything is electromagnetic fields, waves, energies, and if the moon is the reflection of the heavenly sun emits electromagnetic waves. And the reflection of those waves, the refraction of those waves are going to be different than the direct line of sight to those waves. So I have heard, I cannot confirm or deny that there may or may not be things that you create and put them out during certain periods of the moon because of its reflection, refraction of the energies, the waves, and they help create, manifest what possibly health maintenance.
Yeah, health maintenance, yeah. I noticed, especially in the past, because it's mythology, there's a fixation on longevity and immortality. Particularly the longevity, because all these potions and plants that we have to keep us a general health and all-round health. What I found, Nancy, you're going to find really interesting next, is they actually found some old bottles from where was it? 1600s, and in one of them was the elixir of life, and they tested it, and the stuff that was in them, because it was a bitter, and I know that bitters get rid of what? Parasites. And I realised that, wow, the elixir of life, being an all-round healing thing, and it was also designed to keep the parasites away. So that makes you live longer with no parasites. And I've got a picture.
And bitters is also used in elixirs.
Yeah, that's the connection I found when I was doing my research. So here we have another, that's just a drawing of them making the elixir in the old days.
Well, also bitter when it comes to foods usually denotes a alkaline state, and
Yes.
that's very very beneficial for the body's health and maintenance.
Yeah, to get it out of that acidic state into the alkaline state. So here we have the ingredients of what they found in the bottle, and it has aloe vera, gentian root, rhubarb, and a herb I don't really know, I didn't look it up, Zedory, Zedory, saffron, and turmeric. I found them funny ingredients, but that's what they found in the bottle. They found another bottle next to it that was used for different reasons, and it actually had hoops of bitters in it. I think that was just used for the parasites. I should have told you about that too, but it had, hang on, maybe I can find it. It had, oh no.
Well, could we possibly agree? Well, yeah, of course we could possibly agree, but I would think that potion can be added with the semantics of elixir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because I would assume that the magi, the magicians, the magic makers, the sorcerers, that they would have their formulas, their spells, their ingredients of what works best for this, that, and the other thing. And as an indigenous, Anishinaabe, individual of North America descendant, that we have what I'm not a big fan of the word medicine man.
Yeah.
But, if you think about it, medicine, that is something that helps you with health maintenance. And so these elders that were well renowned in knowledge about what plants to utilize in combinations and singular to assist in that optimal health maintenance, and so those medicine men, they would share it with a lot of, when North America was invaded, happy Independence Days and confused. But when North America was invaded, well, conquered, I still have a challenge with any of those words. But, some of these midwives, they would talk to these elders that had knowledge, and they would use their for the pharmacopoeia. Unfortunately, some of them were called witches, and we know that history. But in North America, absolutely, throughout all the tribes, they have these medicines, which I'm not a fan of. We call it mush kiki. That means something that you utilize for the optimal Bima Ziwe Wiyan or path. And so, you know, the uh, the elixir of life, I'm absolutely sure that none of us will be given the specific formula of such a thing.
I agree, Nase, because doing the research was very hard to find things on it.
Well, that's the elusive search for it. I'm pretty sure it's the elixir of life is different with each individual.
Yeah. While I was doing my research, because a lot of it's mythical, right? They talk often about, I think it's called anatomic gold. It's white and it's made out of gold, and the gods would put drops in their mouth of this white milk. But as I went to research, you've either got to research anatomic gold or you've got to research other people's versions of white milk, and they were going, oh, it's cheese and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, no, it's not. It's something more because it's too elusive. So, yes, the elixir of life. What have we got there? So they're the ingredients. And the other bottle they found had stuff in it to fight malaria, and it was antibacterial. So they knew their stuff back then. Like, nothing against modern medicine, but if they knew the raw herbs and stuff to make really good mixtures like even elixir of life, I think we're a little bit behind the ball, behind the
In emergency medicine or assistance, the Western medical industrial complex is phenomenal. However, when it comes to like preventative medicines or medications, I think it is actually the second leading cause of demise is doctors. And it's interesting because there's so many accidental deaths that occur from the medical industrial complex that we spray for a few mosquitoes, but we don't spray for doctors.
Now, I kind of agree with you there. And I say if I broke my arm or cut it and I needed stitching and setting, they're good at that. But when it comes to other things, I'll use a spiritual herbal way.
You've heard my stories of my 1 month stint inside a pharmacy.
Yes. I go into frontline war battle.
I couldn't take it.
Okay, so what else we got here? Mana. There's your mana, in a manner of speaking. Mana. Where's my notes? Hang on. Doo-doo.
Hey, what's the matter with my spaghetti sauce?
Yeah. Oh, no, that's the nectar of ambrosia. Oh, look. Where's my... I haven't done my research properly. No, I just have trouble finding all the little windows. Mana. I thought I put mana up. Hang on. Mana. Oh, yes, here we go, mana. What? Oh, yeah, I remember what I was going to say. Mana. Okay, so we all know about mana. The people in the desert had no food. They were wandering around and it fell from the sky, and it's this, looks like this white fluffy stuff.
It looks like ancient cauliflower.
Yeah, it kind of looks like popcorn. Or what's that other stuff? You know, rice biscuits, crumpled up rice crackers. So the mana actually stopped flowing, and there's a picture of everyone picking the mana up off the ground. It was just falling down, and they reckon it was like this white cellulose kind of stuff, and it kind of melts in your mouth, but it kept them alive. Obviously, it had vitamins and stuff in it to keep them alive. But they reckon that when they started eating food again, like ground food, fruit and vegetables and stuff like that, the mana stopped flowing. So when I heard that, I kind of inclined that. I thought, okay, so while you're eating this mana, you're not eating food from here, you're eating food from up there. What would it do to your mind and spirit? It would actually raise you up in mind and spirit and give you a higher vibration. So as soon as you ate ground food from the earth again, it would lower you back down. And that's what I thought when I heard that story. What are your thoughts? Any thoughts from you, fellas?
So similar thoughts. It was kind of, although when I what I conclude from that, from my version of the story that I've heard, is that's the distinction after the mana stopped flowing and people had to eat. That's when they had to make the choice to either eat plant or animal, and that's when the the separation.
Mm. Yeah, it was quite interesting. I don't know of any other accounts of mana. I never look for it because we're covering so many different subjects and we only had a certain period of
I
time.
know.
Well, one thing that I ponder with it is, as I've talked about cannabism, and and if you know about the plant, when it flower has this kind of crystalline sticky stuff on it, and as it's utilized, that stickiness will get on your cutting implement, and then if you scrape it off, it starts balling up. But then the other thought I had is, in a process of putting like hides on the ground and then putting something on the hides, and with the rain it would cause, again, like we were talking, a fermentation. And then it when it dried out, when the water evaporated, what was left behind could have been balled up, like sticky rice balls, and utilized for absolute minimal nourishment.
Yeah,
Because
that's I thought, I'll not tell you my thoughts, and I say I did think it come out of a spaceship. um,
like a bunch of aliens were flying above, and for whatever strange reason, their urine was edible to humans.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they were feeding us, fattening us up, getting us to move forth.
Oh, they were even back then. They were sautéing us and giving us some seasoning. Hey, have you tasted one of those aliens, or have you tasted one of those humans with manna sauce?
Hey, the red ones are better.
It's an ongoing battle between me and Luna. We can't figure out who's going to be more tastier to them.
Yeah.
Then that one extraterrestrial is going to say, "Hey, there's something the manna with this one."
That's funny. Uh, okay. Oh, this is awesome. So the Fountain of Youth, I had to chuck that in because it's another thing like the rest, but it's a little different, and it isn't a tonic or a food, but I had to chuck it in. So the original Fountain of Youth, they reckon, come from a place called Bimini. And there's a map of Bimini. It's just a little island, and it's near the Bahamas. And that was the picture that went along. And I'm thinking, okay, you're on an island in the middle of the Bahamas, and the picture they're showing you is this great big square swimming pool thing with a little fountain in the middle, like is that a fountain? Kind of. And it's got 2 steps going into it, and there's very pale-skinned people swimming in it. I don't think that's a pool from an island. It looks more like something that'd be in England. If you get my drift, like it doesn't match, and that's what I realised. No one actually, all the pictures of fountains. So the real Fountain of Youth was in Bimini, in an island. So all the other pictures I saw don't match this. This is the only one, this one here with the soldiers, they look like Spanish soldiers. And the water's coming out of the mountain there. That would be more like on an island, because there's no cement or anything, you know what I mean? And then we have, so yeah, before I go, now I'll just show you the pictures and then you'll understand what I'm seeing. And this is what I found during my research. So that looks more like it was found on an island. And then here, for my lovely American friends, they've got another one saying the Fountain of Youth. And as you can see, it's all cemented up with blocks. And behind it, they had some Native American and look Spanish-looking people, I don't know. But there's another version of the Fountain of Youth. That's in America. Then we got another version of the Fountain of Youth.
That looks like the Ponce de Leon play in St. Augustine.
Yes, that's it. That's what it is.
Yeah, because Ponce de Leon, what he searched for the Fountain of Youth, and it's awfully close. It's off of one of the points between Bermuda, St. Augustine, Florida, and there's another place that I can't remember.
Well, I think it was that documentary with Captain Jack Sparrow, where he found the Fountain of Youth and had to go through a little bit of a battle.
Oh yeah, that's the second slide. The second slide would do that, is because they look like Spanish pirate things, not really.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, the myth around the Fountain of Youth. So what, like, do any of these look real? Like that one don't.
That one I had to study that first picture that you put up. There's a lot going on. I definitely it looks like they're building a whole town around this one fountain. I mean, on one side there's what looks like horse and buggy, and then on the other side there's tents that are already set up and positioned, and people are just basking in this water.
Yeah.
Well, if we look historically, and Europe, for whatever its reason, in this last civilization, became industrialized and extremely heavily populated, especially in the major cities. And at a point, because of that cramming of so many people in major cities, the life expectancy was very short. And I believe that when they again invaded North and South America after 1307 and before, that they were awestruck to find all of these indigenous people of North and South America that were well over 100 years old. Because my ancestry, the Anishinaabe people, we talk about entities living well over 120, 130 years old. And imagine America, North America, before the industrialization, before the deforestation, where organic natural food was abundant, that hadn't been polluted with pesticides and herbicides and fillers and additives and preservatives. You know, eating so healthy for such a long time. You know, I would believe that the life expectancy would be a lot longer. And I think that is where possibly the Fountain of Youth came, and the quest in North and South America for it. Because that was one of the things, along with the City of Gold, that the conquistadors and the explorers were looking for.
Yeah, there was a big quest for it. I just found it funny that there's more than one of them and everyone's got one. I wonder if we got one here in Australia. Sorry. Yeah, you're absolutely correct there. No, so they were sent to look for it. And this is what because when you say the fountain of youth, that's what you think, a normal fountain like that. I think that's a beautiful fountain. I'd love that in my garden. But it's just an ordinary fountain. And I'm sure they didn't find something like that, a 3-tiered fountain. It must have just been spurting out of the ground. They reckon it was a pond, but so there's a lot
Well,
to say.
even like here we have Old Faithful, and as we were talking earlier about alkalinity, it, it would, again, assumption that the water was alkaline based. So if you had a fountain, if you had a well, because most cities, were built around the wells. And if those wells would be, natural spring artesian waters that are alkaline, then it would be optimal for health maintenance. And I have read before that our bodies are designed to live 200-300 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because we had elders that were over 100 years old too. Yeah, we are. We're meant to live longer. We're not living that long now. It seems that we're getting less and less. We're still.
Unless you have the funds for longevity.
Oh, yeah, unless you can buy the elixir of life. Is that what you're saying? And you know
Or
where
if you can,
the.
or if you can have breakfast with the queen. Ah,
Yeah. Makes you wonder what you're having, eh?
Yeah, I mean that's what brought on the whole like conversation. This whole topic came about probably when we were talking about longevity and the current people that have just tremendous amount of years. Even those people from Hollywood that have just fulfilled their job and they're just floating along. I notice as I get older, and I'm getting up there, that a lot of these people that were fame and in their glory when I was a kid and a teen, they're still kicking about. So it's like, what is it? There's like, there's something or that they're doing, they're taking. I don't know. I'm not there. I can't prove it. But it's like there's this thing that's out there that's like an ambrosia, that's like this elixir, and it just that's how the conversation started, and then we started yarning about strange flowers, and things just unfolded. We probably got about 6 hours worth of material here, or just thoughts.
Yeah, all the stuff we left out. Okay, so next we have where are we? Hang on. Oh, I didn't reset it. Naughty me. Next we have fruit of the gods. This is your part, your area, Jules. I'll do the clicking, you do the talking. Fruit of the gods. So tell us, Jules, about the fruit.
Yeah,
of the
let me. This is what I call too many windows.
So we got apples. Am I going to mix you up, or do you want to talk and I'll find the pictures?
No, I'm just trying to find my windows.
Oh, right, I got you. So you can share your screen.
Well, perhaps if I can.
If you can find your windows.
Get my windows back.
So many nights I sit by my window waiting for someone to figure out their computer.
Womp, 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 womp. Because I got my windows. But you just can't see me. And I can't see you. So I'm going to be totally amateur. And
Okay.
I don't want to, like, leave you, but I can't find you. Oh, there you are.
We can see you still, don't worry.
I see you.
No,
I'm
we can't.
Oh, they say can't see.
technical difficulty, but it's the moment's passed.
No, so you can't see you. I'm going to put you up on screen. Look, it's all Jules. And
So I am not bringing anything new to the table that's not already out there. I was just like looking into this, and it was like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. And if you guys know some of this, you may not. Depends on how much you know about the gods, the ancient gods. But there are a lot of fruit in the course of this dive that I took that fruit played an important part in their longevity, in their
it does fruit. How do I say it? Food is medicine, and your medicine is your food. And fruit, I believe, is the best medicine of all because it's the most easiest to blend into your
so
body.
will I bore you guys if I just read a little bit?
Hey, go.
And then we can talk about different fruits.
Please.
Or you
Yes.
want to just jump right in and talk about fruits?
No,
Oh
you
my
go.
God, goddesses, aliens. Read it, Jules.
Aye. All right. So, fruit appears in myths from around the world. Often it's a symbol of abundance associated with goddesses of fruitfulness, plenty, and harvest. Sometimes, however, the fruit represents earthly pleasures such as gluttony and temptation. Specific kinds of fruit have acquired their own symbolic meanings in the myths and legends of different cultures. And I gotta find my windows again. So I'm with you guys. I'm just gonna read from some of the stuff that I found. Is I found oh I forget Luna's got slides. Luna, what's the next slide? We're talking about apples. So apples are brimming with symbolic meanings of mystic associations in China. They represent peace, and the apple blossoms are a symbol of women's beauty. And other traditions, they can signify wisdom, joy, fertility, and youthfulness. In China, it represents peace, and apple blossoms are a symbol of women's beauty. In other traditions, they can signify wisdom, joy, fertility, and youthfulness. Is the apple still a traditional gift for the teacher on the first day of school? And I got a question. Does an apple a day really keep the doctor away?
I don't know. After hearing what you're saying, maybe it does. Do you got other stuff to talk
and
about?
I mean, that's the apple. I mean, there's so much that could be said about the apple because at one point, way back history, apple was collectively for one of the earliest known fruits, and other various fruits were called apples. And that's why a lot of old stories and such, you might hear it different. Sometimes you might hear the apple represented as a pomegranate, or the apple might be an apricot. It would be a different fruit.
Oh, and they still called it an apple.
Yeah, because it was collectively just referred to as an apple.
So when they say an apple day keeps the doctor away, they could be talking about a different fruit.
Possibly.
Because I learned the other day how they named some fruit vegetables because of the fruit tax. And now they're saying that an apple can represent different fruit. See, oh, wow. Leading us away from the truth. That's what I see.
Well, and Snow White, that was the poison apple.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been ages since I've seen it, but that was the old witch that gave Snow White was a poison apple.
Yep. Yep. And was it a real apple though, or was it one of the fruits that you just mentioned? Makes you wonder now, see?
Well, because they're persimmon. The persimmon kind of looks. It's smaller, oranger version, but it does have an apple shape.
Yeah, I've got a picture of that.
And there are some of them that, once they ripen, they're sweet, but
Hang on. Where's the
sometimes
persimmon?
they're
There they are. Oh no, they're pomegranates.
granite.
There they are.
But
So
yeah,
like,
I mean, they kind
Wasn't
of
it?
resemble an apple.
yeah, they do.
And I had some persimmon info.
You mention it and I'll bring the slide up. So you just talk and I'll find the picture to match.
Well, you've got the persimmon.
Yep, they're up.
The persimmon slide there.
Yep.
So let me find my persimmon.
Persimmon, it sounds like, has the man got a purse? Persimmon. I saw one at the vegetable shop the other day, but
yeah, because the persimmon, it's a Korean folklore of a tiger and the persimmon, and it just, I found it interesting that this is the year of the tiger.
oh right, I didn't know that. We lost our brother, and they say he'll be back.
Actually, let me come back to you and share my screen, and
Okay.
and I'm not sure. I mean, if anybody wants to go here, I'll show you what I got.
Yep. You put it up and I'll press the button that says it goes on the screen. So not technological. Okay, now say he'll be back in a minute. His mobile device is getting overheated. Oh, yeah, I got. Oh, that was it. That's fun.
Okay.
Out. It's your doppelganger.
I have an evil twin. So I'm trying to actually get back so I can see you on camera, and
That's okay. Everything's
I found you. So now let me share what I'm looking at. Like I'm saying, I don't mind sharing. It's like no big secret. This information's already out there.
Yep. Yeah, anyone can go look for it. But we like to do it for you. What is it? We seek and find, and you make up your own mind. Okay, I got that. I'm going to put it up now. Oh no, you're not ready. Tell me when you're ready for it to go up.
So, all right, I'm going to go to my windows now.
Oh. Fruits and vegetables. Last week's presentation was really smooth.
All right, okay, we're out persimmons. Yeah, it was what I found on persimmons. Like I'm saying, this information's already out there. One of the thing that caught my attention was this Korean folklore called the tiger and the persimmon.
Yep.
Just because the whole year of the tiger. Oh, and also one of my favorite jams from the 80s, Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger, yeah. If I was here,
and then I just kind of was just like, what a symbolism and everything. And then I came up with the tiger and the persimmon. And it goes over the importance of the tiger and the story of it. And it's basically like a tiger is coming to town and he hears the baby cry, and at the end of it, it all comes down to like it's like one of those children's tales that you tell. but it's hidden with the symbolism of the tiger and persimmons proving to be tools to ensure for future citizens to
Okay, so
evolve, I guess.
I've got your window, but it's on your Discord. That's why I haven't added it. And Nase is back, but he's coming back as Vicky.
Oh, so how? Oh, again, this Discord. How? So you're not seeing any of this?
No, we haven't saw your Discord. I didn't put it up. I found the window on the front is the one that'll come up. The most front window. So hi Vicky, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure.
Only Nase could do that. Leave as Nase and come back as Vicky. Okay.
I pulled a Michael Jackson.
You've been drinking that elixir of life again.
Or at least smoking it.
Okay, so how you going, Jules? Still trying to get your window? It's all right. Take your time.
Did you guys know, since we were talking about apples a moment ago?
Of me, like, totally being overexhausted and over anxious, but it's all good. I wouldn't make a fool of myself with anybody else.
We're all doing it together, don't we? And while I'm at it, not many people are left. It's hard to see who's still watching, but our chat room, Algo dropped in real early, had to work. Hi, Algo. Thanks for doing that. Miss ya. And we got lovely Connie. G'day, Connie. And we've got beautiful Malia. And lovely Polly. No, g'day, mate. G'day, Polly. We got where are we? See, I'm terrible at doing this. You're good at doing this. We got Roofy. G'day, Roofy. Thanks for joining us. And we got that fella again, Cannabis Resolution. Do you know him, Vicky?
I think he's a little bit of a scoundrel.
Oh. So you tell the women to watch out.
Here again.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try this again. If it doesn't work, then we'll do it the old-fashioned way. So
is that missionary?
So hopefully you guys can hear me. You probably can't. If I may be sharing my screen, I may not.
No, it hasn't come up yet because I've got to click the magic button. Stay tuned. We are just having technical difficulties.
No, we meant to do this.
Nothing new on our show. What our show wouldn't be our show if we didn't have technical difficulties. Thanks, Ruthie. Ruthie loves their topic.
I don't know if you know this, Luna, but apples are not indigenous to North America or South America.
Ooh.
We don't even have to go on my material. I mean, we could just throw fruit out and talk about it.
Is that that big blue dude who planted all the apple trees?
The blue dude? No, that was Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, that was his mate. He had an ox. That was
no,
right?
that's Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan, right?
And his babe, the big blue ox.
Right. Didn't he go around planting apple seeds?
Yeah, actually, in Brainerd, Minnesota, they had the Paul Bunyan Center. And as a child, we used to go in there, and the parents would give them at the ticket booth the children's name. And as you walk in there, there was a huge 60-foot statue of Paul Bunyan. And he could turn his head and open up his eyes and blink and lift up his hand and wave. And next thing you know, you'd walk in there and they'd be like, Oh, I see that Scott is back again. Hi, Scott. And you'd see this big, huge thing, and you'd just be like, whoa, he's talking to me.
That's funny. All right.
Paul Bunyan Center, Raider, Minnesota. Did you find it, Jules? I'm stalling for you.
What was I trying to find?
All right. Coconuts. And we're
Coconuts.
not going to sing the song because it comes straight to my head.
I mean, I want to check my status. Am I streaming? Am I my screen sharing?
No, I haven't got it up here. There's no.
Okay, good.
no
So
thing to share.
then you should just be able to, like normal, just chat, see, do.
Yep. So
Awesome.
coconuts, they for longevity, coconut milk out of them green ones is really, really good for your body. It rehydrates you. It's got all them electrolyte things in them that, especially if you're sick and had a fever, it puts it all back into your body. I love my coconut water. And I remember it was not that long ago when a friend took me out to lunch, and it was a Thai restaurant, and I never had really fancy food before, and she got me laksa and coconut water, and I love both of them, but I especially love the coconut water.
Yeah.
So,
I do like coconut water and coconut milk. All those years where I was behind the counter at Starbucks. I mean, steaming. I mean, people did Sumatran coconut milk. I mean, that with the coffee being coffee is one of those things that's the elixir of the gods. I mean, a lot of people do wonderful things with coffee. You consume it, something happens internally, and out comes magic called energy. But I mean, but the coconut, people in tropical regions consume the milk and the meat of the coconut and use the oil and empty shells for various purposes. According to a legend from Tahiti, the first coconut came from the head of an eel named Tuna. When the moon goddess Hina fell in love with the eel, her brother Maui killed it and told her to plant the head in the ground. However, Hina left the head beside a stream and forgot about it. When she remembered Maui's instruction and returned to search for the head, she found that it had grown into a coconut tree.
ooh.
And don't forget the lime.
The lime in the coconut. Oh, yeah.
Put the lime in the coconut and drink it all up. Called the doctor and woke him up. Said, "Doctor, is there something I could take?" I say, "Doctor."
That's a good song because I was looking at a lovely bunch of coconuts here. And I was going to say, here in Australia, for us First Nations people, the ones that, well, they're more like white fellas, we call them coconuts. Don't you call your fellas apples? Maybe?
Oh, yes, we do. The red
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, what do we got next? Coconuts.
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
That's it. Oh, figs. We got figs. I love figs. What do we got in figs, Jules?
Native to the Mediterranean region, the fig tree appears in some images of the Garden of Eden. After eating the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve converted their nakedness with the leaves that are usually said to be from a fig tree. And Islamic traditions mentions two forbidden trees in Eden, a fig tree and an olive tree. In Greek and Roman mythology, figs are sometimes associated with Dionysus, Bacchus to the Romans, god of wine and drunkenness, and with Priapus, a satyr who symbolized sexual desire. The fig tree has a sacred meaning for Buddhists. According to Buddhist legend, the founder of the religion, Siddhartha Gautama, sorry if I butchered your name, or the Buddha achieved enlightenment one day in 528 BC while sitting under a bo tree or a kind of fig tree. The bu kind of sounds like body tree remains a symbol of enlightenment. And that would be the next slide, I think.
Will that just fig yours?
Yeah, figures.
Ba-dum-bum.
Boom, boom. Good on you. Yeah, this is the
That's it. That's the
Bodhi
Bodhi tree, the body tree.
body tree. And it's funny, yeah, it sounds like body, doesn't it? To all these fruits are fruits of the gods. Like there's something longevity in them. And the body tree, it's
If
Bodhi.
I said you had a beautiful body, would
Would you hold it?
you hold it against me?
You know, I only just realised the double version of that song. It's funny how you don't realise things and then all of a sudden you do. So the Bodhi tree, it's a beautiful tree, isn't it? Okay.
Was
There's
it both?
yeah, it's Bodhi.
But it's often called the Bo tree, as in BO.
So it's supposed to have properties. And now we're up to a pear. Hey, me and Jules are
My research assistant who won't leave me alone tonight. Say hello,
Oh,
everybody. Say hello, Roxy.
hello. Hello, beautiful. So we're up to pears. And there's the pear flower and pears. What do we got on pears?
Pear. I got something here. So unprepared.
All right.
Oh, because all right, because I thought we were doing peaches next, but I got pear.
Yeah, I mucked up the slides. It's my fault, people. I was doing the slides and I realised every time I did one, it mucked up the list, and I gave Jules the list in line and it got mucked up.
In China, the peach is considered a blessed fruit, a symbol of longevity and immortality, according to Chinese mythology. The goddess of the palace near Jiwangmu, the wife of the Jade Emperor and patron saint of Taoist sages, called the Immortals, was growing a peach tree. She revered this tree for its significance as a source of immortality.
Okay.
And peaches can symbolize immortality or fertility. Hero of Japanese folklore, Mamato is said to have been sent from heaven to earth inside a giant peach found floating down a river by an old woman. In some version of the myth, the old woman and her husband eat pieces of the peach and become younger.
Ooh, and James and the giant peach, that's all I know about it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't got a picture of a peach, Jules. I had peach written on my paper and I didn't do it.
It's all good.
The biggest challenge with peaches sometimes is totally the pits.
The kids, yeah. Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit there, so it wasn't as funny as it's supposed to be.
Computer acting bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, we got gremlin in the system. We got a gremlin. They don't want how to be immortal and live long by telling them to eat food. Oh, that sounds weird, eh? All right, what do we got next then? Oh, plum.
Plums?
Plum.
Well, the blossom of a plum, even more than the fruit, has meaning in East Asia, appearing in the early spring before the trees have leaves. Blossoms are a symbol of a young woman's beauty.
Oh, and there's red ones there and black ones, and we've lost Vicky. Vicky will be back. I wonder who comes next. Yeah, I love plums. Plums are really good for you. What do? They've got kind of like antiviral or something like that. When you eat them and they go in your belly, it's really good for you, germ-wise. And they just got lots of vitamins. And fruit juice is, well, I think fruit juice is the nectar of the gods, I reckon, because any kind of fruit juice is really nice. All right, so we've got red plums, black plums, and plum blossoms. And what do we got next?
That would be a pomegranate.
A pomegranate, yay.
And for thousands of years, the pomegranate, a juicy red fruit with many seeds, has been a source of food and herbal medicines in the Near East and the Eastern Mediterranean. It has seeds made it a symbol of fertility. For one fruit could come many more. To the Romans, the pomegranate signified marriage, and other brides decked themselves in pomegranate twig wreaths. Pomegranate appears in the Greek myth of the goddess Demeter, protector of grain crops and the earth's bounty, and her daughter Persephone. One day, Persephone was picking flowers when Hades, the king of the underworld, seized her and carried her to a dark realm to be his bride. Grief stricken, Demeter refused to let crops grow. All of mankind would have starved if Zeus had not ordered Hades to release Persephone. Hades let her go, but he first convinced her to eat some pomegranate seeds. Having once eaten the food of the underworld, Persephone could never be free of the place. She was fated to spend part of each year, therefore, those months the world was plunged into darkness, but when Persephone returns to her mother, the earth again produces flowers, fruit, and grain.
Ooh.
And that's old Greek myth that I completely just butchered.
No, that's really interesting though. There was the pomegranate.
But
And beautiful
and I think I had some pomegranate stuff that I could share screen, but it's enough to be said. I mean, there's so much about fruit that it's all good.
Yeah, we could do another whole show on fruit. And we got many sins, man.
Yeah, we do, and I'm actually like, just let it flow. That's how we work best. Just let it flow.
So where we got our pomegranates in a nice little heart. They're so yummy.
So, Macy, is there anything that you would like to talk about?
Pomegranates.
Well, as we're talking about all of these fruits coming from these trees, it is known in history that in the fermentation process of fruits, they're very beneficial until it turns to the point of alcohol. However, through the finding of fermentation and alcohol, we start getting the spirits, the whiskeys, the liqueurs, which
the cognac,
are beneficial.
The brandies, the liqueurs, the tequilas, the rums, the vodkas.
Jules, can you run through that list you told me of what was made?
Not to mention the teas and the coffee.
Oh yeah, and Polly actually put up cocoa was considered nectar of the gods as well. So.
And cocoa was a bean.
Yes.
Cacao.
Because that's what I was getting ready about the persimmon before everything went on me. The persimmon, I told Luna about this prior to us booting up for tonight. In the Civil War days, the Union soldiers, they were blockade coming south, and a lot of the people in the southern states, they actually would grind up persimmon and use it as coffee. And I came across this statement that said, if done today, most people, coffee connoisseurs, can't tell the difference between ground up persimmon brewed as coffee and actual coffee.
Wow. So anyone trying to get off coffee, drink ground up persimmon.
Also roasted dandelion root.
Yeah, I drink
that. And also you can make dandelion wine.
You can.
I mean, it's a lot of most of these fruits are, if you ferment them one way or another, you're making a liqueur or a wine or a mead, honey with mead.
Yeah, you can make dandelion honey. It's poor man's honey, and you make it out of dandelions. The flowers. Isn't it amazing? Creator made such a beautiful world for us with all these beautiful things to keep us healthy and live long. Why aren't we utilising them? Oh, I know why. So I asked questions and answered. Yeah, we could be utilising them more. So, okay, I have to go. Gilloa. What do we got here? Strawberries. What do we got on strawberries?
The strawberries from again, I mean, there's a lot of Native American concepts with strawberries. Um, I didn't like write them all down, but strawberries were special meaning to the Seneca of northern eastern United States because strawberries were the first fruit to ripen. They were associated with spring and rebirth. The Seneca also say strawberries grow along the path to heaven so they can bring good health.
Well, June, the month of June, to the Anishinaabe is called Odeamitigesis, which means the strawberry picking moon. So they know after the equinox that 3 months later, strawberries shall be ready to pick or to pay attention for picking.
And the Norse goddess of love was Freya.
I'm back. Did you know I was gone?
And when you do like a whole like search, and it comes with all these questions, like when you're, I'm sure others have like done that, and it pops up with all these like questions underneath your search. There was one question that came up: why is strawberry considered the devil's fruit? And the answer the AI more than likely gave: in the Middle Ages, the strawberry was a symbol of temptation because it was considered to be the devil's fruit because of its red color and its very sweet juice and its tender flesh. Strawberry seeds were discovered in Neolithic places, such seems to indicate that they were already well known and consumed.
Wow. Well, I didn't know that.
What's your favorite fruit, Jules?
Blueberries dipped in chocolate.
Ooh.
Oh, oh, yum.
How about you, Luna?
Oh, well, I don't know. That's hard to say because I eat mostly fruit and vegetables. That's all I eat. Oh, I
Could
really
you
love
could you
strawberry.
could you two citizens guess what mine is? And I'll give you a hint. Remember, I am of the Bear Clan.
Salmon. No, it's
Can I use a lifeline?
No, but I
Okay, what about phone a friend or the 50-50?
Someone in the chat room, help me, please.
blackberries.
Oh, dude. I should have known that. Yeah, I love blackberry.
I should have known too.
I told you the story where my, if I get this right, Inupiat brother, uncle, we were up in the Australian bush here with my little daughter and me, and we were walking around the bush and we come across this wild blackberry bush, and we just stood there. We all stood around it and we just kept eating and eating and eating and eating and eating, and time went by, and then all of a sudden we were all full. That's all we ate because it was lunchtime and we were out walking. Anyway, we gets back and we're going to go out to dinner that night, but by that it's a couple of hours have gone by and the vitamin C and the blackberries had kicked in, and my daughter come out in this little rash from too much vitamin C, and we're sitting in the restaurant and the guy comes up and looked at her and jumped 3 foot backwards. And Grandfather Grey Wolf goes, "It's okay, it's just blackberries." It was so funny.
Yeah, you're fortunate that it wasn't enough vitamin C for you to prove to the universe of being full of excrement.
Oh yeah, she probably did pick up. For a kid, it's good sometimes, you know.
Vitamin C will do that.
Oh, it was funny, eh? All right, what we got now? Oh, what's that,
And
Jules?
oranges.
It's a big green, gnarly looking thing on a great big fat stem.
That looks
Giant
like it's the breadfruit.
a breadfruit. Honey, can you just go up the road and get me a loaf of bread and pick it off the vine? That's what it looks like now. So it's slime green, I call it, lime green. And it's round and it's got bumps all over it like little spikes. Then it's got this really, really thick vine, it's attached to a really thick stem, very dark green stem, and off that stem are these really big green and yellow leaves. They've got yellow veins and really dark green leaves, and they don't look edible, I've got to say, Jules.
I'm sure it's the meat that you eat.
Yes. So
Yeah.
what are them, Jules?
Well, there was a story that how ancient Hawaiians, how that became about.
Is it the story about a man named Brady?
I can't say for certain his name was Brady.
Hey, that's a joke.
Didn't they go to Hawaii one time and
They did. Well,
it
here's something that's tropical. All right. The myth of the banana plant. And can I give a shout out to the banana plant? I mean, the poor Cavendish banana we're on now is a cutting of a cutting that literally is going extinct because our bananas do not have seeds anymore.
Yeah, that's so true.
And also props to the banana because of all the organisms out there. How is it us as humans are more closely related to a banana than anything?
You're kidding. Is that true? We're related to a banana.
Well, I mean, we are. I mean, I can find out where to pull the information from, but it's our DNA is so much junk DNA, but yet the closest thing that our genetics would be linked to
You know what, Jules?
is that
is a banana.
We've all gone bananas. That's
is
what's wrong.
is that why when we hear it, we just feel it deep within our entity? Deo, Deo, daylight come and me want to go home.
Okay,
Me send Deo. Daylight come and me want to go home.
I actually have sung that song while I've been doing work.
so I had a little ditty about a fruit named a banana. So the banana fruit is one of the favorite tropical fruits in the Philippines. Its luscious meat is healthy and enjoyable to munch. How did the plant originate according to myth? According to myth, there was a couple named Martha and Pedro. Their daughter was Celia. The myth says Celia was so beautiful in her place, and admired so much. She was also kind-hearted and good-mannered. The myth adds that obedience and thoughtfulness was always seen in the way she treated her parents. The couple was overprotective of Celia. They feared that someday somebody would take her away from them. The myth says they always guarded the young man and tried to discourage any guy who even came near her. But unknown to the couple, Celia met a young tall man named Aging. According to the myth, being a farmer like Celia's father, the arms of the man were roughened by the sun from tilling the rice fields. But the myth says Celia's parents were against Aging. Although Celia did not mean to disobey, the myth says the girl decided to make good friends with Aging. After every afternoon before sunset, Aging would secretly meet Celia by the well near the house. According to the myth, their meeting continued for months unseen by anyone. They enjoyed each other's company and soon fell for each other. The myth further says that Celia's mother left the house one afternoon to go to town. They were so engrossed with each other they didn't realize Celia's father would be coming home soon. They talked a lot of things. The myth says the father, while still some distance away from home, saw Aging and Celia leaning against the window. Myth continues that the father burst with wrath and ran to the house sw- to swing a sharp bolo at the young man. Aging was hit in the arm. Consequently, his arm fell off and fell to the ground. The myth adds, Aging was shocked and ran away. Celia went out and carefully picked up Aging's lifeless arm and buried it in the backyard. The next morning, Celia noticed a strange plant that seemed showing itself off. This trunk was all. It had green leaves and its yellow fruits were shaped like clusters of fingers. Since then, the plant has been called saging or banana.
Wow. So it's been around longer than we thought. I love banana.
Call Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
And our next one is honey. That's not really a fruit. That was supposed to be in the elixir file. But without the bees,
We wouldn't be here.
none of the fruits, well, most of them, wouldn't be around because they need the bees.
They wouldn't, and we wouldn't, as humans, wouldn't be around much longer after the bees.
Because
If
I
we didn't
remember
have bees.
my
And the
dad was,
powers that should not be wouldn't have their iconography and symbolism of
oh,
bees and
yeah.
honey.
Oh, shucks, we can't have that, can we? They'll be lost without it. So there's our little honeybee. And honey, we got Manuka honey. Have you fellas heard of Manuka honey?
Manuka?
Manuka, yeah. It comes from the southern hemisphere down here. And the bees take the honey from, I think it's a tea tree. And the honey they make is the most medicinal honey, Manuka
I
honey.
thought it was medicinal honey.
They use it in the hospitals. I have it at home. We use it when we're sick. You can apply it topically or ingest it. It's
Really good for wounds, but I'm not a
Yes.
doctor.
It's good for
You're just
wounds.
in many sins, man.
No, we're not doctors, but we all have experience in using stuff. So, yeah, beautiful honey, nectar of the gods. There you go. It's yellow. So honey and ambrosia, you can't go wrong. What do we got here? Oh, there's your persimmon.
The golden apples that were of myth, both Greek and Roman and Norse. The golden apples. I came across a couple of different stories where they speculate that the apples tasted like honey.
Ooh, yum.
Well, and who was the human that went to the gods and stole their precious fruit? I think it was golden apples.
Yeah, wasn't that one of Hercules' 12 labors?
Yeah, I can't recall who it was. I remember an individual, William Henry, used to talk about it.
Interesting. So there's your persimmons again. What's the passion fruits? I love them as much as strawberries. So I can't say I just like strawberries because I love bananas. I love all berries, and I love passion fruits. I absolutely love them. You get them in different colours. Yellow.
I never realized fruits were so abundant until this afternoon when I was thinking of a fruit and then another fruit and then another fruit and then another fruit would come up. I mean, it's like, and a lot of these we know here commonly in the States, but there are other countries that have their own indigenous fruits. Like you can't, it's hard to grow lychee from China here in America.
Well, also in America, there are some plants that have been labeled vegetables that are actually fruits.
Yeah, that was the fruit tax. They had to change them and call them vegetables. This is the taxes that we have, fruit tax.
Especially the tomato. The
Oh,
tomato
yeah.
was introduced around the world after the invasion of the Americas.
And that is a fruit for
So
anyone who
take
got.
that, you Italians.
All right. And the most important question of all, what is it that makes a fruit and distinguishes it from a vegetable? What's the one thing? The seeds are on the inside. The seeds are on the inside, it's a fruit. But that, when you come to strawberries, the seeds are on the outside. So is it actually a fruit? What is it? That's a question I've always wondered. Even bananas got
We
seeds.
just discovered the first, like, I don't know, neutral fruit that has like bits of both.
It's a very unusual. So anyway, so there's a fruit. What do we got next? Oh, that's it. That's it for our fruits. Yeah, I really want
There's
to
a
know fruit.
I'm racking my brain for the legend of the strawberry. Oh, it's
I know in
yeah.
Japan they got strawberry houses and they give you a little bucket of yogurt and you walk through it's like a big long greenhouse full of strawberries and you just eat strawberries and dip them in the yogurt. I wanted to go to Japan just for that.
Oh, we do that in America where people have huge strawberry fields and they'll give you a huge bucket and you'd eat just as much as you fill in the bucket.
So, do you want to hear like the lore of the dragon fruit?
Yeah.
According to the legend, the fruit was created thousands of years ago by fire-breathing dragons. During a battle, when the dragon would breathe fire, and the last thing to come out would be the fruit. After the dragon is slain, the fruit is collected and presented to the emperor as a coveted treasure and indication of victory. The soldiers would then butcher the dragon and eat the flesh. It was believed that those who feasted on the flesh would be endowed with the strength and ferocity of the dragon, and that they too would be coveted by the emperor. It is written that the dragon's flame originates deep within its body, near the base of its tail. The meat from this part of the dragon was a most desirable and most sought after portion. Only the officers of each division would be privy to this cut of meat. The ancient Chinese called this the jiana, which translates literally to the sweetest and best tasting. The jiana was treasured by all who were privileged enough to taste it, and it is believed that man's thirst for the jiana is what led to the destruction and eventual extinction of all dragons.
Ooh, that's a good story. I like that. Okay, do you want to go and grab a drink, Jules, and we'll just have a 1 minute break?
Yeah.
And then we'll go to the last set of slides and then just have a yarn about everything.
Oh, I forget. We get another set. Yeah. Yeah, let's totally do that. Let me stop looking for stuff. But yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump off and let my mobile device cool down. Be right back.
And we'll be with you in a minute, people. Enjoy the music.
For all that beautiful being footed.
When I can get it to play. When I can get it to play, like I said. There we go.
Luna, are you back yet?
I am.
Oh, okay, cool. Because if you still needed more time, I can chill. So, hey, Bernice, cannabis resolution in the chat room. Hey, Ruthie. Hey, Polly, and anybody else who might still be kicking it there with us.
We lost Naysay again. I'm just boiling the kettle, making a cup of tea. And our next one will be edible.
Sorry, I forgot to turn my camera back on.
That's okay. That's all good. Don't worry. We're chilling out today. Okay, edible flowers, and we'll have Naysay back in a second. But we might have Vicky, and we could have Many Sins Man. You never know who's going to.
It's true. And then, and I could play musical cats because they're both in here now.
Oh, you got beautiful cats. Edible flowers.
What's your favorite edible flower?
Oh, I haven't even thought about it because there's actually a lot more than what I'm going to show you today. But when I realised, hey, there's a whole range of edible flowers out there, why aren't we eating them? Because that's what we're supposed to eat with our foods.
We should be eating those. They're. But then again, how do we know with all the stuff that goes with the terraforming and the chemtrailing and all this? How do we know what's even beneficial for us anymore?
Well, that's right. That's why we're doing this show, to say, hey,
we are so corrupted everywhere. It breaks my heart. Everywhere I go, I see corruption in almost everything.
Yeah, unfortunately. But there's beauty in it as well.
Oh, yes, there is. There's absolutely.
I forgot to, this is why I love this. You know how that saying, stop and smell the roses? Mm-hmm. For a little while there, things happened to me and I forgot to stop and smell the roses. Well, I went back to stopping and smelling the roses and feeling better, and it led to, oh, hang on a minute, these edible flowers as well. Why not eating them as well as smelling them? Some roses you can actually eat, and rose oil and all that is so expensive, but because it's so good for your body. And
rose is powerful.
Yeah.
It's the rose, smelling them faintly now, but this is how I'll let you. True story. And it is what it is, but it's just one of those smells that probably flower-wise, it's the one that I remember from, I'm going to say I must have been 7, like years ago. It was one of those Barbie toy when commercialization of Barbie was just was still finishing its infancy, where it was Mattel this, toys this, before the toy market really took off. There was Barbie had like a perfume making kit, and the only one that I remember out of those smells was a rose one. The rose in there was so pungent that I can still smell a fresh rose today, and it doesn't smell nearly as strong as that rose perfume, that rose oil back then. So comparing roses, if you're smelling rose oil and a fresh rose, they smell similar. But the one with the oil, it's concentrated. It sticks. I guess it gets in your olfactory senses and stays there longer.
Yes, there's something beautiful about it. You know, in the plague days, was it Nostradamus? We talked about this before. Was it Nostradamus or somebody who went around healing people, and they'd wash themselves in rose water every time they went to heal someone when they come back, and they never got sick, and they said that it was the rose petals, and they made tablets out of rose petals and gave them to the patients that were sick, and they healed through rose petals. They're pretty powerful. And the other day, me and my offspring were walking around, and we saw a old rose bush, and in the rose bush was the rose hips, and you'll find that it's only the ones with rose hips that actually smell really nice. The other ones are just aesthetic. They look really pretty, but there's actually no smell in them, so there's no oil, and it's very expensive. Okay.
That explains a lot then.
Yep. Yeah, because I absolutely, if you say my favourite fruit, I can tell you what my favourite thing is. It's rose oil. I love it. Okay, so what do we got here? Edible flowers. And the first one we have is called a star flower, and it's also called borage. And the stems can be used in salad, and the star flower is thought to regulate metabolism. It can be used in soups and desserts, and in Italy they make a sweet ravioli stuffing with it, and that's a star flower. And the next one we have, it's pretty, and notice there's a bee on it. Isn't that cool, eh? This one's called spiny sespina. I think I'm saying it right. Sespina. Oh, this is a hard one. It's a plant of the Ayuthaya. It's from Thailand, and it's most used in sweets and omelets. They use it, and they use it in Sri Lanka as well with coconut gravy. It's actually a pretty little thing. I've never seen it before until I did my research. I know it.
Yeah, this was a fun endeavor. I mean, again, it's things that are out there. That's nothing new, but it was just fun, like uncovering this, and it's like, yeah, I remember that story, and like relearning things.
Yeah, and just forever learning. If you don't learn something,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like doing this with you, Jules, for you out there listening and watching. A bit of education, a bit of fun. Okay, so this one's honeysuckle, and we all heard of honeysuckle. Did you think you could eat it though?
I've had plenty of honeysuckle.
Yeah.
You take it off the vine, and then you pull the bottom piece out, and then the nectar, you just suck on the nectar.
Nectar of the gods. And they use it in China, and they make tea and cocktail and honeysuckle sorbet. Oh, that'd be like heaven. Yum. Yum, 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 yum.
I mean, but we're talking about the food of the gods and the nectar of the gods, but division, I mean, what camp you subscribe to? I mean, I think we're all gods.
Little G's.
little G's.
Yeah. What do we get? Oh, hibiscus. Now we all know what this is. It grows here, it grows there, it grows everywhere. My favourite is hibiscus lemonade. I think it's hibiscus.
Yeah, hibiscus tea is pretty good too.
Yeah, hibiscus tea. They call it a Christmas drink. So they use it in Jamaica, Cambodia, India, Tahiti, obviously in Mexico. We use it here in Australia. It's used worldwide now. It's so beautiful.
Completely off topic, but not off topic. We were talking about orchids. Orchids. There's only 3 places. Well, vanilla. Vanilla comes from the orchid. There's only 3 places that orchids grow: Tahiti, Madagascar, and somewhere in Mexico. I want to say Mexico.
Actually, in the last show, I didn't tell you, so I should have. Up the mountains here, we have orchids that just grow on the rocks, along the rocks, and they're tiny, tiny little orchids like this. They're just like, because they're like runners, and they run, and then they have these tiny, tiny little orchids. Mm-hmm. We have them here. Yeah, Australia's good for orchids, but certain places you got to get, like up the mountains is cold, damp, and wet. You know what I mean? And you can get warm, but it's damp because all the water runs down the mountains. There's a lot of little creeks and rivers and stuff. So yeah, Australia's known for orchids. And actually, I think it's the last flower that we have on this display is going to take us back to the elixir, because it's a kind of orchid. And there's something about them. Remember what we said? It's like the orchid looks out into the world, and then it makes a flower to resemble what it saw. That's what it seems like. All right, where are we? Raving on, blah, blah, blah. Cornflower. No, it's not the cornflower that you use in your cooking. This is cornflower. They get the cornflower blue from. I always wondered, I used to think, cornflower is not blue, it's white.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about this before, like colors. Where did they come from? The history of colors, and I mean, and then you have like the whole like these are primary colors and your secondary colors and true colors like that. I never knew that that's where cornflower came from.
No, joy. And
because
they actually.
It's baffling to think that you get pink, magenta from a beet.
Yeah, a beetroot. We call them beetroot. A beet. Yeah, it is. But often in the past, that's where all the colours come from, fruit and vegetables. Even their makeups used to come from them for the women. So cornflower, flour. See, that's weird, isn't it? Flour, cornflower, flour. It can be eaten in salads, and they make cornbread muffins. How's that for a twist of the mind? Not what you think it is it? And it's used in Europe mostly. But the colour is beautiful, I have to say. Okay, and this one, our little pansies, we get them here as well. And you can put them in cucumber melon salad, pansy popsicles. You can have a pansy pop. Oh, imagine that in summer here. Oh,
yeah, well, I've seen those gourmet popsicles that have like rose petals, like pink lemonade with rose petals inside of them.
Yep. And you can put this on any dessert, these ones. My neighbours have got heaps of them. I'm going to go and peel for them. I'm just getting for dinner tonight. That's our dessert. Yeah, my neighbour's got them up the road. But you never know what. That was one thing I should have said in the beginning. If you're going to think about eating edible flowers and even the fruits, you need to be careful. You've got to know what's been sprayed on them. Does the person use pesticides and all that sort of stuff? Because if you're going to consume them, you want them clean, and you're better off growing them yourself, because then you know they're clean and you brought them up with love, and they'll be very healthy. So note that. Don't just go eating anything, because here we have a lot of weeds in that you can eat. But if they're on the footpath out the front, the council sprayed them, so you can't just go and eat them plants and take them home. You'll kill yourself.
Yeah.
Naso would have had something to say about that. Oh, Alan Duck. We've got Alan Duckbill Platypus. Hello, mate. How are you going?
I'm doing just fine. See, thank you for having me on. See, because I'm like a real tough guy.
Hey, I'm glad you can join us. Sorry I didn't notice you there. I'm too busy reading the screen and presenting these slides. But you probably heard about what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. I heard everything you had to say, but I'm more of like an aquatic plant eater.
Oh, seaweed. We haven't gone to the ocean yet. That's a whole nother show.
Well, it sounds like we got Squidward right here with us.
And there was a plant, true, Alan Duckbill Platypus. There was a plant that I did not put up here where the flowers are probably edible. Actually, the whole plant's edible. And that's the cannabosum plant. Did I say that right?
Yeah, man, I think you said it just good.
Okay, and what have we got here now? This is hard to say, this one. I'll try and say it. Nasturtium. I hope I'm saying it right, this flower. Nasturtium. Is it a silent letter there? Nasturtium? No, nasturtium.
You just reminded me. I got a little story about a pineapple.
Ooh. Okay. Do you want to go with your pineapple before I tell you about the nasturtium?
Yeah, let me go ahead and tell you about the pineapple.
I'm saying it right.
This is from the Philippines. An unpeeled pineapple has a lot of medium dots that resemble a human eye. How did it get such skin covering? A Philippine myth tells us why. Pina, a rustic girl, lived with her mom as tenants in a fruit plantation. Her mom was the hardworking type almost all the time. Pina was also hardworking, but not with her household chores. She loved playing all the time. When her mom told her to do a household chore, she always procrastinated. She started the work, but later set it aside for tomorrow, a tomorrow which often never came. The myth adds that she often stopped in the middle of her household chore to play. She usually reasoned that she couldn't find what it was her mom wanted her to do, but actually the truth was she didn't pay attention to any of her mom's instructions in favor of playing. She felt confident in the thought of surely finishing a task later or tomorrow, and this was the chagrin of her mom. The myth goes on to say that the mother, used to being too vocal with her careless ill wishes or curses on people who didn't delight her, was liberal on such a habit only with her daughter. She reasoned that vehement scolding did some hidden wonders to juvenile stubbornness. But one day, the myths, Pina's procrastination went too far for her mom to tolerate them anymore. Her mother had told her to get her wooden shoes from under their hut. She went down to the hut and looked under it, but seeing the old rag doll, her imagination started working. She was soon playing with it, her usual dialogue saying, "I can't see it," when she actually wasn't searching but playing. But it did it this time. Her mom shouted incentives plus curse that you may grow dozens of eyes on you. So Pina would never stop mentioning her favorite dialogue. Then suddenly Pina disappeared. A search party looked all over the plantation for Pina to no avail. Then Pina's mom saw a curious new species in their backyard. It was covered with eyes. She remembered her latest curse on Pina and knew it was her. From then on, she called the plant pineapple or pina in Filipino.
Wow, that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm the more that I looked into this, I'm finding that the Filipinos, they have some interesting myths about them.
Please, audience, go back 5 minutes and listen to Jules read that again.
I know. I
Very
was trying not to
carefully.
laugh. I truly was trying not to laugh. I'm sorry, Jules.
That's why it was like let me just like keep reading because I know by the time I'm finished with this, there's gonna be like I just set
No,
myself up.
it was the girl's name and the fact that she was procrastinating. It was just the way it come out. I heard that and I'm thinking, oh, I was trying not to laugh because I didn't want you to think we were laughing at you. It was what you read. That was funny.
I did.
Moving right along. Or as Alice used to say, Mel, kiss my grits.
Okay, back to nasturtium. I'm going to spell this out because I think I'm saying it wrong. It might be my accent, I don't know. Nasturtium. Nasturtium. Nasturtium?
What it sounds like.
I don't know.
I think the S and the T is silent in that.
I don't know.
I'm kidding.
I never know. Anyways, so this beautiful flower, you can eat the green, so it's a nice, it looks like the poppy similar, but it's orange and it's got little leaves that look like lily pads. And it's in South and Central America. It's bugging me that I can't say it right, eh? And you can have it, it's peppery taste, and you can put it in salads, stir fries, pesto. It's nice and smoked salmon, and you can put in pizzas for an earthy, hearty meal. So it's got a lovely grounding energy by the sounds of that.
The thing that's really interesting about tonight's topic is I'm on my 4th day of fasting.
Oh no.
We'll feed you flowers.
Well, that's what I'm thinking
Yeah,
when breaking my fast. Why not go to flowers?
why not? Don't eat too many though; they'll give you a bellyache. I know that much. But yeah, why not add some flowers into? Yeah, this is what
So,
I'm saying. We've lost our true diet, a true native to our bodies. You know what I mean?
so are you giving me permission to eat as much cannabism that I'd wish?
Yeah, want yeah. As long as it don't give you a bellyache. This is the juicy one. This is the last one, I think. Now, this is the daylily, but if you refer back to the first slides and that about ambrosia, it's also comes under that. But as I've showed you, there's two kinds of ambrosia, the yellow one and then the flower version, which is not yellow, but they still call it ambrosia, being a day lily. So anyways, this one comes found in Korea, Japan and China. And as you can see, it's a reddy orange color and it kind of looks like a hibiscus with skinny leaves, skinny petals. That's what it looks like. And you can make daylily fritters and put them with rice and vegetables, make hors d'oeuvres out of them, deep fry them. While the petals are firm, you can deep fry them. Yeah, you can eat them too. You got to cook them ones, by the sounds of it, because they're a bit tougher. But there you go. The
This just made me had to think. Have you guys ever heard of the drink chartreuse?
No.
I'll have to do a quick because chartreuse is also a color, and with the color, because it's so, I don't know. I mean, it's referred to as chartreuse yellow sometimes and chartreuse green.
Oh. It's not on that list. I've got one more there that's just a thing. I can hardly see it because my screen's small. So we got, hang on, make my screen better. Get my magnifying glass out. There we go. Viola, Melody, Pink, Perisette, Fuchsia. Oh, my dear friend Connie, that's what I meant to tell you. The plant, the flower, fuchsia, is edible, and I know you love that colour. So, and then we got the the marigolds. You can eat the marigolds. You can eat snapdragons. I didn't know that. There you go. Summer smile snapdragons. Sapphire buttons, cornflower. There's our cornflower again. Notice it comes in various colours. Our nasturtium again.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back with you. Chartreuse is a thing. It's a liqueur.
Oh, yum. Not that I drink, but it sounds good. Wow. You'll have to find some of that, Jules, for our up-and-coming show.
Yeah, shouldn't be much of a problem.
What have I got here? Yeah, the nasturtium, you have the green leaves there. Green Empress, it's called. Petticoat spice. Oh, how do you say that? Dianthus?
Dianthus.
Yeah, it's a pretty plant, isn't it?
Oh, I like that. Sunshine confetti.
And maroon. And sunshine confetti. It does, it looks like confetti. So there you have it, people. They're our edible plants, our edible flowers. Please do remember, if you're going to eat the edible flowers, make sure they're clean, they haven't been sprayed or peed on by an animal. You've got to think about these things, or grow them yourself and you know they're clean. But they're edible, and all I can say is, as far as energy and that goes, imagine the beautiful energy you put in your body. And roses, you can eat them too, certain roses.
I wonder what chocolate-covered roses would taste like.
Oh, divine. Just the thought of it is divine.
Every rose has its thorn.
So there you go. That's my edible flowers. I hope you found that helpful. I know Nose has. I have. And even the perfumes from these flowers, when you smell them, will have an effect on your body and your energy.
Essential oils. Oh,
Essential.
I was gonna say something when you were talking earlier about the rose. You know, it takes 500 pounds of rose petals to make 0.5 milliliters of a rose essential oil.
Wow.
That the rose oil is the highest frequency of the flowers. That there was a study where individuals would have their frequency registered and they would have a cigarette. And after they had a cigarette, their frequency would lower. And then it took a certain amount of time for your frequency to rise back up to normalcy. However, if after you had a cigarette, you put a drop of rose oil on your pineal location of your forehead, it quickened the time like 40%.
Wow. I've got rose oil, like I said. I love it.
I used to once a year save up money and buy a little bottle of rose oil because it is ridiculously expensive.
I'm just going to run and put some rose oil on my third eye. I'll be back. No, I'm joking. I feel like doing it now. I use it
I
sparingly.
found an interesting, and it just reminded me, the strawberry it's heart shaped.
Uh-oh, don't get me going.
Heart.
Yeah,
Yes.
I found an interesting article about the mystery, the myth, and with the Cherokee. But
Can
if
we have
Nathan has anything he'd like to throw in,
we need your permission to read that, Nathan.
yeah, because I'm not going to disrespect you and read this
No,
without.
go ahead. I have been trying to remember my ancestry's thing about the strawberry.
Maybe this will jog it back a little.
Go for it.
The Cherokees have a creation myth that connects human harmony and the configuration of heaven and earth to the sight of a single strawberry. The cosmic details are murky, but the culinary message is clear. Abbreviated, it goes like this: First man and first woman, think Cherokee Adam and Eve, have a blowout argument, after which their first woman proclaims, "You are lazy and pay no attention to me. I am going to find another place to live." With that, she harumps off with that indignant power Walker brisk achieve only by angry women. First man feels remorse. He sets off to apologize but can't catch up. His legs are no match for her will. Desperate, he beseeches the creator, please slow her down so I can tell her how much I love her.
Tripper.
Moved by first man's anguish, the creator sets temptations in first woman's path. He tries gooseberries, he tries huckleberries, he tries blackberries, but first woman pays them no attention and proceeds at her frantic clip. Finally, the creator turns to his own garden and plucks the berry of the heavens. He sets Earth's first strawberry plant at first woman's feet. Miraculously, it blooms and bears fruit. The first woman stops dead in her tracks, is smitten with the graceful leaves, the lovely bloom, the heart shaped fruit. She decides to pause for a single bite. As she picks the first berry, more plants sprout up around her. She tastes one strawberry, then another and another. As she plucks to feast, her anger melts away. She unpacks a basket she brought for her journey, and as she fills it with shiny red fruit, she's filled with longing for her husband. When the basket will hold no more, first woman pivots and heads for home, as fast as she can run away. Still in hot pursuit, first man looks up and sees first woman coming toward him, smiling and shining again. His heart soars. He tries to tell her how much he missed her. She puts her hand to his lips and places a strawberry in his mouth. Silently, he thanks the Creator for the gift of power to bring First Woman back home. First Woman takes First Man's hand and leads him home, feeding him berries all the way.
When I was younger, my favorite dessert of all time, strawberry shortcake.
Oh, yum.
I did my fair share of playing with strawberry shortcake dolls and it was strawberry shortcake and custard. Then there was the purple pie man. There was Huckleberry Finn. There was apricot and hops a lot.
I didn't have them, but the kids had them, so I had lots to play
Oh,
with.
there was angel cake.
But we all need to get
apple
a bit.
dumpling.
Strawberry preserves. Oh,
I'm going to want to cook something after this. But it shows that we should eat more fruit and veggies, but more fruit, because there's such a big variety. And they're easy to eat. I call them takeaway fruit, because you just pick it up, clean it off. Some of them you don't even have to clean. You just peel the skin off and eat it, right? It's takeaway food, that's what I call it, yeah. And good
well,
for you.
thinking about the strawberry, and I really do like the strawberry because my birth recognition date is the strawberry picking moon of June. If you look at that plant, the fruit, all of those little particulates on the skin of that fruit is a seed. And there's hundreds of them on each.
You might be able to, sorry, no, so you might be able to ask my question. You were out when I asked Jules.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we recognise fruit as the seeds are on the inside of the plant, the fruit, right? But a strawberry, the seeds are on the outside. So how come that's a fruit when the seeds are on the outside?
I would make the assumption that it's because it retains such water.
Oh, okay.
Because if you notice, fruits tend to have, softerness to vegetables.
Yeah, very much. They're mostly water. That's why we should eat them a lot. Yeah.
But I'm the stupidest man I know, so I'm making
that must make me the stupidest woman I know. No, I'm not stupid. Okay, bad for my mind, but I don't know everything. No one does. That's why I asked the question. And I noticed inside a strawberry, if you cut it in half, there is a small hollow bit in there, like you think the seeds would belong in there. Maybe someone made a mistake on the assembly line when they were being created, and they went, "Oh no, it went inside out."
Oh, I forgot to fill it. Just throw it on the outside.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get away with it. No one will notice.
It's like a poppy seed muffin.
But having seeds on the outside would be like way easier for it to regrow, because they're going to just drop off straight onto the dirt. Then the flesh of the fruit will cover it up and give it sustenance as it grows. So it makes sense from a plant's survival point of view. Or was it mucked around with? That's another question I have for my two bright minds here. In the history of the planet, how many times has our fruit and vegetables been mucked around with, and what were they like originally? Are they still the same and a smaller version of it? Or I know the banana's changed. We know about that. The
Banana
banana
changed.
has
Well,
changed.
there are fruits, and all the fruits that we have around now, not all of them were around way back when. Not all fruits are ancient fruits.
Yeah, we've got a lot of new ones.
And there was one, and I know I told you before we went on tonight. There was one of them that was after what the flood, the one that supposedly Noah had the only tree he brought with him was a fruit. And for the life of me, I can't remember which one it was.
I remember it was at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
I think its name was Alan. He was
Alan,
a platypus.
the duck-billed platypus.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
fruit. I don't know. Is that derogatory nowadays?
A Fruit Loop. No, only to the platypus, and I'll talk to them later and I'll tell you what they say. What was that? Passion fruit? No, it was one of the fruits that we did, I'm sure, Jules.
But I found the thing that I was looking for on the breadfruit.
Yeah, here's with it.
Yeah, it's known that the ancient Hawaiians colonized the Pacific nearly 1,000 years before Columbus crossed the Atlantic Ocean. One of the most important plants that the Hawaiians brought to Hawaii was known as the ulu, or breadfruit tree. For hundreds of years prior to Western contact, the ulu was considered a staple food in Hawaii and played a significant role in the culture and spiritual life of the Hawaiians. There is one mo olio, which means story or legend in Hawaiian, about how the ulu came to be known as the gift of Ku. Whenever Ku, the Hawaiian god of war and prosperity, came to the islands, the sky would always celebrate his arrival in commotion. Thunder, lightning, loud cracks. However, the people did not recognize Ku as a god. In fact, Ku was known to live among the people as a planner. It is said that Ku fell in love with a young woman and decided to start a family, but years later, they were struck by a terrible famine. The people within the Hawaiian village became weak and began to starve, even Ku's children. Ku knew something had to be done. He told his wife that he could help, but needed to travel far away in order to do so. His wife agreed, and Ku began to grow tall, planting his feet firmly on the ground, sinking into it as the tree swallowed him up. The next day, a sprout grew from where Ku was buried, and the plant began to grow swiftly, reaching up to the stars. Hundreds of ulu fruit swung from the branches, and Ku told his wife from within, "Roast the fruit well, remove the skin, and you shall eat." And this was the gift of Ku. This mo'olio reminds us about the sacrifice and preservation of the culture of the Anana. There were wise saying olio no Idadu that says Ka'awa koi lawau for the Mexican research, for the food research with a stick, a reminder of the tall breadfruit tree. And I butchered that Hawaiian completely.
Yeah, when you were saying that, I'm thinking both of us did. Maybe I should put the apology to the people's language that we butchered tonight. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I apologize. I should come with a disclaimer.
Yeah, we should.
Well, that's really interesting that Ku knew what grew under his footprint impression.
Yeah.
That's just something I found out there. I mean, take it like there may or may not be truth to it. It's just, for me, it was entertaining.
It's really interesting when we talk about all of these plants and the fables or the lessons, allegories that come from these plants. A lot of them have to do with relationships. And if you think of the fruits and plants, what do? They plant seeds.
Yeah.
And when it comes to a man and a woman and the continuation of the species, seeds need to be planted.
Yep.
Safe sex.
Yeah, no party without moon.
Yeah.
When you said about you knew what was under his foot, maybe he put the seed in there and squashed it in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting if that was the way that you plant it. You just throw the seeds down and squish them in a little bit.
Well, the seeds here in Australia, a big large percentage of the seeds await the fire. They need extreme heat to open up and drop down on the ground. So it wouldn't surprise me if you can plant a plant by
Oh,
just putting it down and
I had
sticking it.
this thought the other night. I don't know why I was thinking of it, but there's it looks like on the grass, but it's you've seen those we call them stickers, those things that get just stuck on your feet. You don't want to walk on them. They just stick you. There was
Mhm.
one plant that overnight with the morning dew it would open up. But it didn't matter if it was 6 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock noon, or 7 o'clock at night. Anytime throughout daylight hours, if you stepped on this or touched this plant, it closed up until the following day. And then when the dew comes, this plant opens up again. I
I
can't
know,
remember what that's called.
neither can I, and I know the plant you're talking about because here we have a tree that does a similar thing. It's got very big, overly shaped, soft. So how can I explain it? Um, so the stem comes down off the tree, the leaf, and then off the stem, it's a bit like a fern. It's got little oval shaped leaves come down, and when you touch it, they fold up in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and they'll stay like that till the sun the next day because they come out with the sun and they close up in the
Mm-hmm.
afternoon. But if you run your finger down the middle of the stem, they'll close up. And I'll tell you a little story about that. I said to my husband, I want one of them trees in my yard because I love them so much, right? And he goes, okay. So he goes out, and they got purple flowers on them, right? So he goes out and he gets one. I said, they got purple flowers. This is what they look like. And this is what the leaves look like. He's right. Okay, then. He comes back with a native. Now, I wasn't upset because the native that he come back with looked identical to this plant, but it didn't close up. And this particular tree, we use the roots to pound and you throw it in the water and it numbs the fish for about, I don't know, 30 to 60 seconds, long enough for you to jump in the water, gather them up and put them in, bring them ashore or put them in your boat. And it was what do they call it? A nice way of fishing. You don't hurt the fish because if
Mm-hmm.
you don't catch them, they'll just wake up and swim them all away. But yeah, I wanted one of them trees, and that's what I got. I got a native tree that you go fishing with. But yes, I
So
love
cool.
them.
You have a fishing tree.
Maybe we can do another show on plants because they're very the description of the leaves and how they close up remind me of prehistoric plants. Because in prehistoric times, a lot of those plants were there like alive.
Mm-hmm.
They don't close. That
Well,
was my
you know what the scariest plant is?
Venus flytrap.
Audrey 2.
Oh yes, giant one. Yeah, I remember that.
Feed me, Seymour.
Yeah, that's it.
Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long.
So, what stories do we know of how Creator put all the plants here for us? Healing plants, medicine plants, food.
I think it was sowing the seeds of love, the seeds of.
Seeds of love. Well, we got 15 minutes left. And we've actually gone on 10, 11, 12,
Yeah,
3 hours.
been sitting a spell, but it's been
We've had
delightful.
lots of
I've learned some stuff.
I have too. And I want to thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you for putting up with me and my little digital malady that I had.
And I want to thank. Do you want to yell out the chat room, Jules?
I
Chat room!
I've been looking.
Oh,
I can't unfortunately chat. It's either the way I'm set up or however, but
Do you remember Romper Room?
yeah.
I do.
I see Ruthie and Malaya, Jocelyn, Ken,
I see Ken.
Oh, no, so he's good. He's looking
Luna,
romper stopper
And
donkey.
Bernays.
Bernays.
And
Yeah,
that strange dude named Cannabis Resolution.
yeah.
Don't give him any positivity or love, or it just goes straight to his head.
Yeah, we got some. Yeah,
Polly,
And Polly was here. Connie was here earlier. Joe. Thank you guys all for coming.
yeah. Thank you. I hope he's enjoyed what we've had. All right, last things. We've got 14 minutes. We don't
and
know. We don't. I just like to
and
go out even number.
Luna,
Yes.
the seventh person that sends you a comment of the video of how beautiful you are, if they get me their address, I'll send them a Cannabis Resolution T-shirt.
Oh, did you hear that? If you didn't, just replay that.
Yeah, they'll have to.
Oh, now you make me blush. Yeah. So, all right. Any last thoughts, my friends? Oh,
Hold me accountable to my words and actions.
okay.
No, but I am going to celebrate the goodness of the blueberry later on tonight.
With chocolate.
Without chocolate.
Well,
But
because I
blueberries, yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about coffee and tea and
tea, coconut.
yeah, because coffee, when it comes off the tree it's called the coffee cherry.
Right.
So I mean, coffee. I mean, it's a drink, but it's considered the coffee cherry. And then there's so many different kinds of ways that you can make coffee beverages. There's different kinds of coffees. There's different way of washing and roasting, and that's like a whole that's like a community there. That's more like shopping for stuff in a warehouse.
Organic free trade.
We've had a suggestion from. We need to do another show, part 2 from beautiful Roofy there.
You know, I got nothing going on next Friday night. Are you guys free next Friday night? Same time, same place?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm always
Thank you,
here.
Ruthie. I can do that.
Part 2. Yeah.
I
Get
do
your stuff
not
ready.
know.
Alan Duck build and platypus, get your stuff ready. We'll do part 2, and we'll put all the extra things because there's a whole lot more. We can just keep going, and we'll end up going up all these corridors.
Yeah.
You can end up finding the true elixir of life. Woo-hoo.
We're gonna
Actually, there is another YouTuber, and I've been watching him, and he's trying to make the anatomical gold, which is actually milky white. And that's that stuff that I said in the beginning. They used to see the gods, the little G's, drop under their tongue. I'd love to yarn about him if we do to get him on for a little minute, if you would.
Yeah.
Talk about the anatomical gold and show us the milky white stuff. He's on another fella's channel that I watch.
I just wonder. I mean, you got me thinking Milky Way now. What's the cosmic connection with fruits and flowers and trees?
I think it's chocolate, coconut, and peanuts.
With sprinkles on top.
Isn't that what a Milky Way was made of?
Whatchamacallit.
Well, the way when you said that, all I saw were all the plants and that on the earth up like this because they're more connected than we are in this present day. They've lost their way. And the instant answer I got was they're connected. They're connected to the sun. They're connected to the atmosphere, the moon, the stars. They're already connected.
I mean, and that's going back to a previous show. Was it last week or the week before? The flower of life. where everything is all plants, water,
Yeah.
our consciousness, we're all with Mother Gaia, we're all connected. And if we're connected here in this realm, then other realms we're going to be connected with that through the consciousness.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yes. Well, Alan, the duck-billed platypus, mate, I want to thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's no problem. I'll be here anytime you need me.
All right, we're going to have to do it again anyway. And Jules, as always, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And everyone in the chat room, thank you for being there and participating as well. Yeah, I want to get some more participating shows. We'll get to that anyway. And thank you for watching, listening out there in the future. Yeah.
The time has come that we must leave you. Sorry it is, but we must go. All we ask is that you join us when it's time for Luna's next show. Goodbye from Luna. Goodbye from Jules. Goodbye from Alan. And me, Naysay the Fool. Toodles.
I'm going to send you out on some music now. Thanks
Thanks
for that, mate.
everybody. Yama. Yalu.
Yeah, Yalu, until next week. And thank you again. Love to you on this day. And remember that you are loved, Creator loved us. And let's just animate love and light because it's going to make the world go round better. All right, I'm going to end just with some more crazy music for our
I
flowers.
second what Luna said. Love you, everybody.
Yalu.
Yeah, have a good night, see?
Thank you, Platypus, Alan. And say hi to Vicky for me.
Oh, I'm still here. Good night.
Bye, Vicky. Bye, Naysay.
Yeah, don't let the door hit you in the rear end on the way.
Next week, one of you is going to have to stay behind next week. It's too much for me.